allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Additions, adjustments to the agenda. I guess the adjustment is the Dominion Ave property, we're gonna table to the next meeting. Sorry, are you all set, April?
What number is that, Rich?
It's number
It's gonna be
two under
number-
unfinished business.
Okay, thanks.
And that's until the next meeting, we said, Rick?
Yes. You all set now?
Yep.
Okay. So we're tabling number 2 on unfinished business, the Dominion Ave property, for the next meeting. Helene wasn't able to print off some documents that she wanted to bring. That's all I have for now. Helene, you have anything?
No?
All right. So approve the minutes of May 1st, 2020.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
Could I ask if that was warned as a special meeting, or what kind of a meeting that was? Because it doesn't state on the agenda here or on the minutes.
It was warned as a regular meeting, I believe.
Off schedule at 9 a.m.? I thought you guys made motions to meet on Tuesdays at 5 like we are tonight.
Yep.
And this is a Friday at 9 a.m.
Correct. We had to do some warrants.
I'm sorry, you had to do what?
We had to have a meeting, and that was the meeting, the time that everybody could meet, so we could sign the warrants.
But that doesn't qualify as an emergency.
So it wasn't an emergency, it was a warned regular meeting.
Illegally held.
So if you have, you can wait for the comment section for comments. So move to accept minutes of May 1st, 2020.
Yeah.
All right, public comments, communications with citizens. Ray, go ahead.
That meeting, you say we had to do warrants. What are warrants?
The bills.
Okay, but it says here on these minutes that you did unfinished business, water and sewer, old minutes, business.
Correct. We held a
That's
meeting.
not warrants. That's
We
a
wanted a meeting.
full-out, plain, regular meeting, not available to the public, unwarned to us. Why?
Okay, it was warned, and we had a meeting.
When was that warned? What date was that and where? Because plainly, this is out of schedule after you just made motions not too long ago to meet on Tuesdays at 5. Okay, move on. My next thing would be, you adopted records, you and Mary Santok, from the VLTC. Under Vermont 1 VSA 310 through 314, is that correct? Do you remember doing that?
No.
You don't. I'd like to give you this exhibit to see from the clerk. I have the minutes from the meeting where you approved it and adopted it with Mary, and that you were going to operate these meetings under those rules.
Okay.
You have been clearly in full violation of that, losing your qualified immunity, leaving the village open as you for damages and liability to that, for violating people's rights, keeping them off the agenda, just for one of the examples. You control the agenda at the beginning of every meeting, just like you did tonight where you changed it. That's all you get to do. That lady there is an elected official that works with you, not for you. You give orders to her and expect her to violate the law.
Wrong.
No, I watched you and she's followed through with it.
I don't ever give her orders.
Well, what you have done is clearly violated people's rights and not following the rules on this agenda, and you need to stop.
Okay.
You have stated that it is not a volunteer fire department, that it is an association. It's on record.
I know, I forgot.
I've asked the board before, they were aware of it. I now have public record documentation from the fire department to mutual aid stating that you are a volunteer fire department. Under that knowledge, and with this record, where gives the fire department and whoever gave them the authority to bill us an hourly service for using the fire equipment, not only here in the village, but outside of the village.
Sounds like a fire department question.
I'm asking you, as you're the assistant
I-
fire
I-
chief,
I-
I've asked the fire chief.
I'm here as the trustee.
Right, and you hold our value trust in the economics of this village.
Thank you.
So for you to get a loan for fire equipment, when they have a line item, and we clearly passed the budget, where do you find in your authority to do so?
As the village trustees, we decide if we give the loans out or not.
You do. So the village taxpayers don't have any say in the amount of money that you go get loans for, is what you're thinking, Rick?
Well, that's why we are voted in by the village voters as the trustees.
To go get loans as you see fit.
To
After we
run the
have-
village, the municipality as we see fit.
Okay, the fire department is not part of this municipality. Their budget was passed with a line
The
item.
fire department is part of the municipality.
Exactly, and we had a line item on there for equipment and gear.
Thank you.
A week later, after the annual meeting, actually 2.5 weeks later, you and Mary Santai, you the assistant fire chief, made a motion, and you were gonna look in to see if it was a legal motion, and check the public records. You never did so. You just went and got the loan without seeing that it was legal.
Okay?
Is that okay? You think that if I took you to court and told you before when you were doing it that night on video, the evidence I present to a judge is gonna show when I warned you that your qualified immunity was leaving you and you don't have the authority to go outside and take a dollar loan without the notice to the taxpayer? Because what you did was open up my wallet and take money out of it without my approval. And out of hers, and out of hers, and hers, and his, and his, and her. I don't come to your house, hop in your vehicle and drive it over to the next village, come back and charge you an hourly wage.
Move on, Ray, move on.
Move on to what? My
We've
complaints?
discussed this before. You brought it up at a different meeting before. We've discussed
But
it.
you've lied to me, I want to know why you're lying about being in an association. Who gave you the information that you're an association? You were on record as stating that. Who gave you that information as the assistant fire chief, that as an association, you're allowed, because you have filled out these bills, to bill us hourly for serving?
I have never filled out a bill for the village.
You don't come back from doing a fire and fill out a little form, how many men were at the fire?
I do a fire report, correct?
There you go. And that gets
It's not a
turned
bill.
into the village, and the hours are billed to us for it. So you do part of the report.
Thank you.
As the assistant fire chief,
Correct.
where do you think that authority comes from, as an association even, to bill us? You're not an employee. Did you ever get a time clock for the village employees? Because that's on the same meeting under the same minutes in which your fire chief recommended you go a certain place to get them.
Except the villagers all vote once a year. We have that line item, right, in our budget.
Sorry.
In the village, we have a line item for that, and we put in like $5,000 or whatever. So the village residents all get to vote on that.
For what line item is that? What are you talking about?
When you bill them for hours,
Correct.
that's in the budget that the people vote on.
For services and salaries,
Correct.
correct.
Yeah, it is in the budget.
It is in the budget, but is it explained and shown to the villagers that it's an hourly bill per man to use our equipment that we as taxpayers pay, not only in this village, but to take out to another place and then come back and bill us for using it someplace else? Mutual aid is brought to us by us from the town of Troy and other villages. This is a never-ending milking machine that's been being pulled off here. Loans are made, we as taxpayers supported that fire department to the tune of $733,399.54. Not in 20 years, just in 10 years. $750,000 in that building in 10 years. Less than 10 of it, 159,106 came in new vehicles. Vehicles we needed. We as taxpayers bought those vehicles for you. We paid for those when the loans were needed to be paid. We voted on it. We did. And then when the loan was done, you kept the money in the budget. And then when the budget gets presented, we as taxpayers voted on it, and again, 2 line items for equipment and gear 2 years ago. Then you combined them into one for a total of $19,000+, almost 20 grand. We voted on it and we accepted including the service fee, giving you almost $25,000 in equipment fees. Money to go buy new equipment with it. And you and Mary see it in your infinite wisdom, they need another $6,000 and a $4,000 increase to their budget on that same motion.
Okay,
That's not legal, Rich.
okay.
It's okay, and you keep saying okay, so I have to take you to a judge to stop this?
You know, do what you've gotta do. Okay, that's all I'm gonna tell you, do what you gotta do.
You want to be in a class action suit like that? Seriously? You will be named as a defendant. Your qualified immunity left you. I notified you of the rights and the violations the day you went and got that loan. You didn't care then. You flaunt your business to me like it's okay to take my money, and it isn't. I'm done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be talking in front of a judge, so.
Okay.
Video evidence.
Vera?
Yep, my driveway.
Yep.
When you didn't clean your drains out, half my driveway left. Because the drains were backed up, and it backed up in my driveway.
When was that?
For the last two years. Now, there's a big hole from the street to where the sidewalk goes across. I've asked to get it filled. No response. I took a gentleman down to the Troy dirt pit over there and tried to fill a couple of buckets to fill that hole in. Not only was it my driveway, but it was Rodney's. Rodney tried for 2.5 years to get his filled. Nothing. I took a gentleman down there last year to try to get some dirt to fill that hole in, because every time it rains, it fills. Or every time it rains, it flooded my driveway out.
Where on your driveway is the hole?
Pine Street.
Well, I know where.
The hole is from the road to where the sidewalk would have went across. But where my driveway is flooded out was between the sidewalk halfway at my driveway. That's where it used to back up so far. Now, when we were over there trying to get dirt, we were run off and told us we wasn't entitled to that dirt. I said, my God, all we're getting is 2 containers of dirt. No, you're not entitled to that. I said, we pay taxes here. Why can't we get some dirt? Because you wouldn't clean the drains out so we could fill that massive hole in front of my house there. Nope. Nope. Can't have it. That belongs to Troy.
But, right.
So what do we have to do? Dump it out?
No way.
We left?
So
Yes.
I don't think, well, first, like, I don't
We
think the
left.
sand would help. Sand would wash away just as quick as anything. What you
It
need
would
is
at
probably
least
some
help the
gravel.
cars from going over a mud, an indentment there. At least help the cars from going over an indentment to
If-
get in the
Did
driveway.
we not have Carson and Marcel look at that?
Yes,
We did.
Okay.
yes, and they said they wouldn't cover it, and she said it clearly too, that they only pay for the asphalt. Well, it's not the asphalt part of the road, it's where it comes off the asphalt to where the sidewalk would have went across my road. But dare plant anything there or do anything 20 feet from the center line, because that belongs to the state, that belongs to the village. Well, if it belongs to you guys, take care of it.
Well, that's not what that law states.
Well, whatever it states or not, if you had cleaned your drains out, we wouldn't be having the problem now.
I believe they were going around cleaning drains.
They cleaned them out for 2.5 years, you didn't clean them out, and it's washed that all out there. And we need it fixed.
Where were you
I've asked to
getting, where
get
were
it
you getting
fixed.
the fill from?
I was getting it out of North Troy,
At that place?
yeah, I wanted some kind
They're
of
filling
fill.
it, they're filling it all the way to
They
the river.
had another
You know,
guy
you watch how they're filling it in.
complaining about the water runoff and flooding
Hundreds
those
of
drains,
thousands of
so
yards.
they're
They
aware of
wouldn't even
Pine
give me
Street
a
for
couple
drainage.
plastic containers of dirt that we were filling up,
So,
Maybe
I
pour it out.
I can't speak on the behalf of the town's
just to fill it up so we can drive
policies
across it.
on their dirt. That,
Well, we're taxpayers, we pay for that dirt.
well, but it's their equipment and everything else, well, that's why they lock it up now. And I
Hey,
can't,
this was-
we can't sit here and answer on behalf of them.
We just
That's
want
a
someone to
question.
fix it. You guys did clean the drains out. It flooded my driveway out for 2 years and Roddy's.
I don't know what
We
to,
just need it fixed.
I don't know what to tell you, and we sent our workers down and they looked at it and they said it was okay, and they didn't
It's
have to
not
fix it,
okay.
then that's,
It's not okay, they need to fix that hole.
We have to ask them, I guess.
right, well, I know they've gone down there,
Marcel and Carson.
so.
It's not okay. Go down there when it rains and see if there's not a big hole there. There's a hole there filled with water. What do you mean it's okay?
Call DOT, report that there's poor runoff here in the village, and they'll pull their funding from the.
It's
from the
not
state.
okay. What
You have
is
to
it for a
maintain.
little bit of
You have
gravel
to
to
maintain.
fill that up?
I had this problem when I moved in. Water was running from the road, right down my driveway, right into the back, into my basement.
That damage was all done when the drains were backed up.
Yep. Jimmy ended up having to be told by DOT, you're supposed to maintain the
We'll-
drain and water
we'll
that
look into
flows
it.
from the
We
road.
shouldn't have to have a meeting to make a decision to get a little bit of,
Vera, I've already told you, we've already had our workers look at it. And they've already, and if they said that they
let
don't
me
need
tell
to
you
fix
another
it,
thing, your
then.
worker, the one that does the sidewalk there,
Yeah,
you're teaching them well to lie. Because my spigot, where you turn the water off and on, was all bent up and there was no top on it. I went down there to where the sewage place is and I told Marcel, the top to my spigot is gone. You know what he said, the young kid? Yeah, I seen your snowplow driver run over that thing last winter, twice, bent it all up. It's all messed up. You should be raking out your yard trying to find the top of that thing. I said, what do you mean here?
What spigot you talking about?
The top of the valve to the water
The shut-off
cut
valve
off.
itself?
I said, we've raked all that yard out. There's no top to that thing there. I was sitting right there when your snowplow driver was running all over the top of that thing. I said, my snowplow driver did not do that.
Are you saying if you had a water leak in your house, that we wouldn't be able to shut the water off to your house?
Wait a minute. And I told Carson, I said, my snowplow driver did not do that because he doesn't plow over there. He comes in our driveway and goes completely up the back of my garage.
I'm not saying who did it, I'm just asking you,
Carson said, I clearly watched him. The tenants in my house come out and said when they started to fix that, we've been here all winter.
Vera,
He did not do that. He said, we seen you
Vera,
come up in her yard
Vera, I'm not arguing
And
who
hit
did or
that
who
thing
didn't.
with
All
that-
I'm asking you
with that
is
sidewalk.
the
that
shut-off
sidewalk.
damaged?
I'm talking.
Well,
I have a right to talk in this meeting.
Per your rules right there, you're not
I have
supposed to
a right.
interrupt her while she's talking, Rich.
per my rules here, we've already gone over the time limit.
Well, you
for-
didn't
for
say one at the
communication.
beginning of the meeting, I'm sorry, per
I've
your
just-
rules.
It was established right in that document that you were talking
It
about
doesn't,
already.
yeah, you're supposed to establish the time
See,
limit,
now,
and
he
you didn't.
lied to me. He lied to me when he was actually the one that went up in my yard and run over that thing and bent it. Where they had to come out with a backhoe, dig it up and put a new one in. And he clearly lied to me and told me that it was my snowplow driver that did it when it was actually him. Because my tenants seen him do it.
okay, so it's a he said and your tenant said, and you don't really know for sure.
I know for sure it wasn't my snowplow driver and he didn't sit out there and watch him do it twice.
All
Has
right,
it been repaired?
Yes,
Still
they
a he
repaired it,
said.
town replaced it free.
thank you. That's all I was asking.
Let him go, he was here first.
Tom,
You can go first.
nothing?
No.
Steve, I think she's on the agenda.
Yeah, for.
So we're still in the communications or the comments and communications with citizens.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll, you know, I can see maybe holding a Friday morning meeting or whatever, what with, you know, the virus and things were pretty screwed up and, you know, but in the future, if it says in the book that your meetings are gonna be at a certain time, we're gonna stick to that, right? For the most part?
As much as we can, yes. If we have to have a meeting for everybody to show up, then we may have to alter the time.
Okay, and as a member of the press or whatever, if you do have a meeting that's off this schedule, I believe, I'd request that the clerk contact me if she could. If there are,
It's posted just like every other meeting.
Yeah, but it's under Vermont constitutional law, he has the right to request,
Yeah, you-
contact him.
to
As a
contact.
media outlet. And he's now notifying that he would like that under his
Yeah, it's no big
constitutional
deal.
right to be notified as a news outlet when you hold meetings off schedule.
and I see that, oh man, going back to the water and sewer delinquencies, Rich, I mean, really, I've gone through this. I just got it yesterday, but, you know, I should have requested earlier. But we've got a guy here in the village. We're talking 11 properties, Rich. Over 120 days. You know, these aren't, you know, one family here, one there, and they're a month late or whatever. 11 properties, over 120 days, for a total of $8,005.47. I mean, $8,000 in delinquencies. And, you know, that's a lot of dough, you know?
Talking water, sewer.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I believe we're gonna consider this year, if they ever get around to doing a tax sale because of COVID-19, that,
Are we in, are they delinquent?
what?
I can't even until June 15th, if they go through the state of emergency. Like taking removing that.
Gotcha.
I can't do it until after that.
Yeah, he's supposed to say whether he's gonna declare, keep the thing going after the 15th. You know, but we've got a lot of money here, and have we decided to attach properties, like they do in Orleans, to get their attention? Because nothing else seems to be getting these folks' attention, except for a property attachment. I mean, you can threaten a shut-off, but as we all know, I mean, you know, half of the places can't be shut off because of the curb stops, and it would cost more to dig it up and put in a curb stop and a shut-off than it would be, you know, for the delinquent account, you know what I mean? So have we made it policy yet to attach properties to get their attention?
No.
Do we plan on doing that?
Well,
No.
we'll discuss it.
We'll have to have a discussion on
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah, because,
What?
About putting them on.
We haven't
the-
had
I
any
said but,
discussion.
I just wondered what the but was.
We haven't had any discussion over it.
Right, but it would be putting them up for tax sale, along with those who haven't paid their property taxes.
Right,
But we haven't had that discussion.
yeah, because,
and we're not, because of the COVID-19, we're not doing shut-offs, is that what I understand?
No, because of the COVID-19, usually the town sets when they're gonna have a sale, tax sale. And then we go along with them, and any houses we want in the tax sale for the village, we add our list to theirs. And because usually they owe both, you know.
But I'm asking why we're not shutting the properties off to get a collection, why is
I
that?
think they would.
I mean, we're legally allowed to do
You're
that,
talking about a
Right now, we are
Oh,
legally
okay.
not allowed to.
really?
But we have
No.
some that are already shut off, right? We shut
There's
off
some
people.
that have been shown for an extremely long time.
Right.
yeah, because, I mean, we're talking, you
When were
know,
those shut off?
Last April,
This past April or last?
last April.
A year ago,
a year ago, April.
They've been turned over
13
to the
months
state,
now.
the
14 months.
health officer.
And do they have kids living in there?
One of them does, but they are.
Because
getting
according to
around.
Langley, you can't do that.
No, that doesn't matter.
That's right.
That's
So,
why he turned.
so we're getting
one water
off
line on.
topic,
Yeah.
off topic. We're back.
They had it flooding for 3.5 weeks.
So because of the COVID, if I understood, we're not allowed to do the water shut
We're
off?
off topic, we're not on water sewer.
Okay, but when the emergency is over, and it should be fairly soon,
Hopefully.
yeah, we're talking like 40 grand, Rich. I mean, you know, that's a good chunk of change.
Better than it used to be. Right?
Well, I don't know, I mean, we were up to what, 50, 60?
40's better than 50 or 60. But
Yeah.
we're getting there, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, it's, like, you know, we've been through this before, like everything else. If I don't pay my power bill, my lights go off, you know? It's just one of those
I'm
things.
pretty sure, I think we're in a better policy now as far as the water shut off when someone goes delinquent. we go over there, give them the notice, and then we shut their water off if they don't pay their bill. I'm confident that we are doing a better job of that over the last couple of years.
Okay, and have we thought about, have we thought about the annual meeting? Do we have any word on
Not
that?
until we get away from the COVID-19.
Yeah, because I know we had upped the sizes from 10 to 25, so it looks like,
Not for the meetings, the meetings is capped at 10. Is
yeah.
that correct, April?
I believe so, last time with the LCT, they send weekly updates.
Maybe we could hold it outside. Or like I said, all we could have to do is declare a protest and
Have
have,
100?
and have the meeting in the middle. But anyways, so we're still, the annual meeting's still tentative. If we, I mean, would a petition help to maybe have to show support for public, for attachment?
Were you gonna petition the governor?
No, I mean the residents.
Residents,
I mean, but the governor's the one who sets all the stipulations.
No, I mean for, coming up forward, for attaching properties for our
Oh, I
water
see.
and sewer. Because, I mean, I know there's a lot of people in the village, and you know this well too, who don't come to the annual meetings.
Well, I mean, I think that's something that we need to discuss first, and then from there, we can bring it to the tax voters if they want to see if that's something that they want to do.
Yeah, so, but if we came up with one and went door to door and came up with signatures, would that help sway you in any way?
Well, I don't think we're gonna be behind to doing whatever we can do to get people,
To pay up?
to pay up, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. It's just a matter of us having a discussion over it
Policy, yeah,
and making it something that we do.
yeah. All right, well, thank you very much.
All right, so we're moving on to water sewer, and we are here to, I'm assuming we have a representative for Dennis,
Yeah.
for the Railroad Street property.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just state your name for everybody that doesn't know you.
Caitlin, over there.
All right, Caitlin, what's the questions?
Well, we're being charged 14, and we have the state inspector come in, and we only have 11 up and running. So,
So
why are we getting charged 14? And then the previous owner was only getting charged 5 units,
Okay,
and he was running full bore.
not sure if Carson might be able to back me up on that, but, so I think there's 14 units in that building that are able to be run with water
But we
sewer.
don't run them.
Okay, but
Oh,
it's
able to.
able to, right?
Okay.
So, as the board, we can't police when you run those or not, and not knowing if you're going to run them or not. Like, if you tell us today they're storage, but then tomorrow you put somebody in there, and we still think they're storage, but you're not getting charged for it, that's where we're at. So if you only wanna get charged for the 11 units, those other 3 or 4 need to be disconnected.
Okay. Completely disconnected?
Correct.
Okay.
And then that way our water department knows that there's only 11 units that are gonna be using the water sewer there.
Okay.
Because it's nothing that we're trying to, it's not a trust issue thing, it's just one of those things that we don't know
Yeah.
how many tenants landlords
So we
have.
had the state in there, they did all their inspections and everything, so.
Right, but those other rooms with the
Right.
possibility of being able to be
Right.
rented out,
Right,
right, and then
Yeah.
have the water sewer. So that's where we're at, so that's why he's
So-
being charged for the full price. And until he can show and our water guys go in there, show that it's disconnected,
disconnected, okay. So it'll stay at 14.
correct.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, no, that's all I wanted to know.
Is disconnected enough to do it?
Well, so it'd be disconnected as far as whatever the terms are. I know Marcel had talked about it a little bit. There's something, I don't know
I've got the rules right here.
Can you
What-
reconnect them though if needed
if
down the road?
needed, yes.
Okay.
This would be associated with connecting and
Correct,
disconnecting each
correct.
of those, so
There-
you're aware of that.
Okay.
Does he have a copy of our water sewer policies?
I really don't know, probably not.
So it'd probably be good for him, have him come in and grab a copy of that, and
Okay.
then he'll see the fee structure that's involved.
It's only 3 pages.
Then he can,
Okay.
go from there.
Okay.
Ray, real quick, I didn't quite hear what you said to her. when she said, when she asked about if they could get hooked back up, what was that?
Well, there's a connection fee and a disconnection fee,
Reconnect.
or a reconnect fee. Yeah, it's in the water and sewer.
If it exists
For
in
looking,
that
for
bill.
putting in meters and taking them out? No, sir.
No, not to replace the meters,
No,
but
we're
like,
talking
so
about a
if,
shut off. If you're gonna go and disconnect it per unit. Marcel
Yeah,
knew
pay
about
to
it,
disconnect.
and each unit, if we disconnect per unit, that stops them from being billed for that unit, and you've disconnected it.
I think it's just a connection fee.
I was gonna say, you have to
It's a
pay to
large-
disconnect.
It's a large amount to reconnect,
Yeah, I was
There it
gonna
is.
say, yeah.
How much is it?
That was my point.
close to 3,000.
$3,000.
To turn it back on?
Yeah,
That's why I
Better
said what I
off
said.
So,
Right.
okay, I guess.
so you're not gonna get rid of the bill unless you pay the $3,000.
Well, yeah.
Learn something, huh, Carson, huh?
No, well, I'm imagining we're taking out meters and turning.
No, no, okay.
I didn't realize we were digging stuff up and disconnecting. But,
Anything,
No, that's all, he
Anything-
wanted to know why he was getting charged 14 and the
So
state
each
came.
one's gonna cost me $3,000 to stop.
I'm
the
not
bill.
giving that answer right now for shutting it off. That's up to him.
I got another question on the fire department.
we're in water sewer.
It's just not gonna take but a second. As a homeowner, I pay for fire. So can't they collect that part of the insurance every time they go to a house fire?
What?
As a homeowner, when I pay my insurance, I pay for the use of the fire department, like 25,000.
Through your insurance.
Right,
That's for fire coverage, like for
No.
your building.
I pay for my fire department service. Can you guys not collect that?
So, again, we're in water sewer. I'm here as a trustee. I'm not talking fire department.
I mean, that would help you guys out a lot.
So, now we're on number 2, curb stop, policy and damage, and I believe that was I think that was Vera's.
Right.
yeah, over there, we ended up digging it up. We are trying to change, so we're gonna change, so if they are damaged at all, then, the homeowners is responsible for the charge of digging them up and replacing them.
Not if we didn't hit them.
Well, if they're hit with a plow,
It's our
if the lawnmower runs over it and it's damaged where we can't shut it off, if the homeowner's responsible for the damage, then they're responsible.
But you have curb stops in the middle of the sidewalk that Santa broke one off on Main Street, right next to the sidewalk.
They're
Are you
changing,
gonna
it's changing now.
Huh?
That's what this is about, it's changing now, so.
Are they all gonna be left above ground, or are you gonna receipt these and cap them?
If there's one without a cap, you let me know, I'll go put a cap on it, but,
No, I mean, are they gonna be put down below ground and covered so that we can just
They'll-
remove
they'll
the cap
remain
and
the
be
same.
able to access them?
they'll remain the same, just if they're damaged by the homeowner's responsible for getting, for the replacement.
So that's gonna be put into the water and sewer rules, is what you're saying? That's what they'll make a motion and change the rules, and we'll have a meeting about it and all, 'cause just coming up with a new rule can't be done with the water and sewer, it's a separate entity.
All right, well, mine is on
I can
Langley's
tell it's the first I've
property.
heard of it, so.
Okay.
And they run
Just
through there
if-
with cars
if
and
you walk
stuff
through the
running over
process.
mine, so what happens there?
If they're below ground level, they'll be less
That's not my
susceptible
fault.
to
We're
damage.
getting all kinds of people
They
talking.
shouldn't be on the property then, I guess.
Okay, hold up. Vera, if you have a question, shoot the question this
Mine's on
way.
somebody else's property, and when they're drunk, they run through there with cars, so what happens there?
Say that again, sorry.
Mine's on Langley's property, and I've seen them drive through there drunk plenty of times, and they run over that cutoff, so what happens there? Am I responsible for that?
Your water shut-off is on Langland's property.
Yep,
That'd just be something that will have to be addressed when we make these changes.
Yeah, definitely make it below
I
ground.
mean, obviously, no one's gonna be responsible if somebody else damages. If somebody damages your shut-off on somebody else's property, you're not gonna be liable.
okay.
All right. Moving on, unfinished business. We are going to pick a paint color for the building.
Yay.
Did we get, you got a contractor to do it?
I believe,
It's in our minutes.
yeah, I believe what the last I had heard was the quote that we got from Robert to paint the building was for the same existing color. Do you hear that, Helene?
Yeah.
And it would be if, so if we pick a different color, then
Do you know what the code is?
we would have to, it's right in the old minutes, May first.
It's on that table.
If we pick a different color, that's probably going to be more money, right? Depending on what it is,
Are they
which
taking bids?
I don't really know
I
why.
don't know, you have to ask, I was gonna ask that question.
I don't know why.
Public records, you can get a copy of the bids they received.
Are they taking bids on that?
No, they approved those and accepted that bid.
Oh my God.
Maybe we can deduct the water bill.
So do we wanna just, we can table that till Terry's here and we can discuss it then?
Yeah.
Cause there's no big rush.
Yeah.
Okay. April, have you heard anything as far as the, if the construction in here, has anybody from the state, have you heard anything from the state coming into, to looking at for the codes and all that stuff, for the permits?
There's a permit on the door.
There is a,
He applied for a permit,
okay,
but I haven't had like anybody.
oh, okay.
Do we need permits, Rick?
I believe we need permits in here because it's a municipal office to make sure for the construction, to make sure we have 2 egresses and all that.
What are we
Stuff.
doing for construction?
So we are going to open up the clerk's office, that wall, extend that wall further out, make a more, like,
Deeper?
a meeting room over this way with a false wall that cuts off the meeting room to the village clerk's office.
About what, 10, 20 feet?
I can't remember how
And a
many.
storage area along this
Yeah.
wall coming up.
There's like a storage area for the clerk because the downstairs is too wet.
Must be more.
So we needed a storage area up here, opening it up, making it a more of an office setting for the clerk. A little bit better for the, the residents to come in and go to the desk instead of her being behind the walls all the time. And then just making this more of a flow of a meeting room than, this was like the first kind of the step of it. The meeting room will come this way from now on instead of being over there,
All right, can I,
utilizing the room.
I'd like to request that anything that you're gonna throw out from down below, I'd like to have it before it gets thrown out, maybe for the Historical Society.
Well, I'm sure that's a great request. I don't think we're gonna throw out anything that's
Well,
not,
just in case.
Right, right.
yeah.
right, yeah, I mean, if there's something that can go to this historical society, that's absolutely,
Yeah,
Great
I'd just like to have permission to check it out, that's all.
yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so meters, village properties on Main Street. This was you, right, Helene?
Yeah, and it's not something I feel really strongly about, it was just an idea I had that we mentioned at the last meeting. But we couldn't vote on it because it was an addition to the agenda, so you can't legally vote on it, it has to go to the next meeting. But the idea I had is because the village owns those two, I'm talking about the 2 houses on Main Street, because the village owns them, and the people who pay the village bills are different, although they're the same people most of the time. But there are differences between the people who pay the village bills and the people who pay water sewer. So I just came up with the idea that right now, nobody's paying water sewer on those properties, because they're saying, well, the village owns it, the village doesn't pay for water sewer. But my idea was they should pay because it's a different account. And like I said, it's an idea I had, I'm not passionately for it.
I know I got really confused over that whole conversation.
You lost me.
And-
Not just you.
And there was talk on, is it beneficial for the village to take the meters out, or Or
No.
not to charge for those meters to, or not charge the rest of the village water sewer
Well, if the.
for
okay,
those two
if
buildings.
You've got
that-
two
Or
houses.
the properties that the village owns, not to
Right.
charge everybody for them.
What charges are they acquiring right now? I'm confused. There's no
Okay.
water being used,
Hydrant fee.
just a $100 hydrant fee. They should both be disconnected from the water at this point.
Well, if they are, and we don't charge when they are, then, yeah.
Right, so it's, I think
Are
it's
they
just a,
disconnected?
They were cut off before them
I
people.
mean,
moved out.
the small house had a water leak and got shut off from underground
The big house.
3
was
years
cut off.
ago. That I do know. I went over there with Marcel in the middle of, 4 years ago, maybe even 5 now. In the middle of the night to get under the floorboards because he couldn't get down under there. But we got it shut off when April was living there still. It froze. So that got shut off and taken care of then. Whether the big house, with it collapsing the way it has, whether Marcel shut that off since then or not.
It was cut off before they moved out. They hadn't had water in there in about a year and a half.
Yeah, but, I mean, so we shouldn't really be getting any type of a billing.
Okay, then if we're not, that,
I mean, there's no water being used unless somebody's turned the water on in the big house. Other than that, I can't imagine any water being in there because there's no heat, it would have froze and broke the pipe.
Yeah, it's just a hydrant fee for fire
Helene, have
protection.
you
Carson,
viewed that
can you,
property?
can you look into those two buildings, see if you can find the shut
I've
off
seen
and see
them
if
from
they are
the
shut
outside.
off?
You need,
Or shut-
okay.
No problem.
I would strongly, have you viewed both those properties, Rich?
Viewed those two on Main Street?
Yes, I mean, walked around them, you
Oh.
need to. As trustees, I really honestly wish you would physically walk around the building. It's caving in, okay, on the foundation. There is a hole you could walk in from the outside, in underneath the side of that house. So,
So we are in, like,
it's,
we
it's an
were
attractive
in
hazard.
touch as
There
far
have
as
been
on,
kids playing over there, is my
on what we were
concern.
gonna do with those buildings, like
It's-
there's,
It's not secure, it's open, and it's an attractive hazard at this point. We as taxpayers are very much liable. There are small children that roam that street, ride their bikes up and down that driveway. I caught them the other day and I said, look, and the no trespass sign is gone from the front lawn again. For order of village trustees, there used to be that bright yellow sign. There's still one way out back, but there ain't the one on the front lawn.
It
And I
should-
said to the kids, I said, that building's abandoned, you're not supposed to be riding in and out of there.
It should be
Like, I
checked.
don't feel comfortable telling somebody else's kids they're not supposed to be, and I'm the old man screaming at the kids. But as trustees, I think you both should take it upon yourself to walk that, view that area to see whether or not we can do something to at least secure that hole.
Yeah, board up the hole or cover it
You
with
can't, it's gonna have to be filled in or something, or roped off or something.
chicken
because it's
wire.
huge. I mean, it's huge.
something. If somebody gets
Thank
hurt
you
over
for
there,
your time to hear.
if somebody gets hurt over there, we could be in trouble. Regardless of the signage.
I know, I mean, I know it's, those buildings are a big concern of ours as well, and we're trying to figure out what the best avenue to take.
There she is.
right,
Boy.
good.
All right, so new business, VLCT resolution adoption.
Go ahead.
I'm not really sure what that is.
Oh, that's the email I forwarded you from VLCT. They are looking for towns to sign and help go on the.
Could you speak up a little, April, please? I can't hear you with the
I
mask.
remember that now.
Yeah, it's a resolution from VLCT, and it's a campaign to lobby to Congress for direct federal aid to cities and towns. And they're just looking for support from all towns and villages and cities.
Do you have a master copy for us to sign and to look over?
This here.
What have we had as a, a cost that's related to COVID-19? Because I couldn't think of any.
Just basically the more cleaning supplies, like to wash, because I gotta wash everything down. And Carson and Marcel need a webcam with a speaker, because every class is through the internet now for them. So they would like one of those.
They haven't gotten one yet.
No.
Is that for classes or updates?
Classes.
Because of the COVID-19 restrictions.
Sure that computer down there is nice and updated.
Got Braille on the keys still.
How are the classes coming, Carson?
Good, very good.
So, I mean-
Got another one Thursday.
I don't see a reason why we wouldn't wanna sign this. I'll sign it, and then you guys can read it, and
We should probably make a motion to sign the resolution. Right? Do we?
was that a motion?
Probably need a motion. Yeah, make a motion to sign the resolution.
All in favor? Aye.
Gotta look back.
Where to go, Lee?
I haven't even seen it, he's asking me to.
It's nothing that's gonna harm us in any way for anything.
No, it's hopefully gonna be in front of grants.
Mhm.
We are on new business.
I'm gonna need a wide angle lens.
We tabled the color,
Mhm.
and tabled the properties. So, till next meeting.
Okay.
And there was really nothing new on the meters.
No.
Well, actually Carson's gonna just double check to make sure that those buildings are shut off and there's no water going to them.
Okay.
I don't know.
They're not even in the water, the building.
I think
They're not even in,
I was just checking, because they were on, here. They're not even on there.
I would assume back years ago when they were condemned or whatever, that would've got taken care of, but.
I assume our grant wouldn't be that big because we don't have that many costs.
All right, so moving on to other business. Other business is just so everybody knows, we did receive a grant from, Helene?
Upper Missisquoi.
River Valley,
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Wild and
Wild
Scenic.
and Yeah, it's, I
That
can never,
long name.
I can
What's
never
the
remember
acronym
it.
for that?
Trout River.
Yeah, I can never remember it,
Let's
so
make an acronym for it.
Terry,
They already have one,
Oh.
it matters.
Terry worked with, got the grant out, we received $5,000 grant, and that's going to go towards Hill Street and the water runoff area there, because it was washed out that last big storm that we had. Last I knew, we were gonna get the state involved to come take a look at the culvert to see if the culvert was the right size. And if we have to upgrade the culvert, then there's possibility more monies to be granted towards us to help us with that charge as well. So Hill Street issue should be taken care of by that grant, no money out of our pocket,
And that
thanks.
was a special grant just from damage done November 1st. You know, any damages done during the November 1st flooding. So that worked out well.
Yeah.
Maybe we could blame the Main Street properties on COVID and get some grant money on this new round.
Be nice if the wind would blow them down nice and safe, right on top of each other, but
Did that flood over in your property on that storm that she's talking about? Maybe you can apply for part of that grant money.
Yeah, maybe.
Was it the same time of that flooding?
Yeah, when the drains was flooded. Every time it rained and those
You
drains
damaged
were
her
clean,
property
it
on,
flooded out
on
of my
Pine
property.
Street from the drain being plugged and the water
do you
flooded
have
into
any
her
other
driveway.
business?
That's the other thing. The only other thing is, I think all the streetlights have been replaced now, as far as I know, and looking around.
Those look great,
Um,
and they work awesome.
And that is gonna, it's gonna, if you don't mind me saying
No.
so, it takes about 18 months to start saving. So for the first year, I mean, obviously, we start saving as soon as we hook them up, but to see the actual savings, it's gonna be approximately $389 a month that we're gonna save.
We spent something like 20 grand a year on
We're at
streetlights.
28,000 last year is what we were at.
That was about 20, I believe, wasn't it 20?
Yeah, I don't think we overspent I think we underspent last year. I think the year before we were overspent.
Maybe,
I
I
think it
think it
was
was
the year
like
before.
$28,000 that power bill for those lights got to, and we brought it up then, and we were looking
That's-
into
That's
going to
with the
these
solar.
lights, because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
That's right,
lights,
solar
yeah, we have that solar power
metering, yeah.
in there too, but, I think the streetlights look nice. I know Tom had a concern. Did you ever get an answer back?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you're okay with it though now, Tom, with the new one?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did get in touch, they could not give a lower wattage in front of his house because it was a contracted thing and they couldn't. But because of the way the lighting is, it's not as bright and shining into
Well,
windows.
it isn't anyway, I don't know, it's got
It's a different light.
It's got a number on it, they may have put in a.
Maybe they did, maybe once
Because I
they.
talked to the guys. and,
Yeah, yeah, maybe he did,
I
good,
think they look nice.
awesome.
22,000 we paid.
22.
Last year, yeah.
All right, agenda items, date of next meeting. So the agenda items are, will be 1 and 2 from the unfinished business this year,
Yep.
this meeting. We can, under new business, put on the, discussion on Steve's concern as far as attaching properties to the delinquent taxes. Is that correct, Steve? Is that what?
For water sewer.
For water sewer, yeah, sorry, not delinquent taxes. For delinquent water sewer, we can have that discussion.
I mean, that's being done in a lot of other
What's
places.
that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, because I missed it, do you mind just explaining what does he want?
So
What was the question?
he wanted to know if we were attaching properties to the delinquent water
Tax
sewer.
sale? that
Yeah.
are water.
Like they do in Orleans and all these other
So
towns.
any town that's delinquent in water or sewer, do those properties go to tax sale?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
They
They
do now?
do, they do now.
Have we ever done that?
You have on properties that, a lot of the properties that are delinquent in taxes are delinquent in water or sewer.
both, yeah.
So yes, they kind of sometimes fall. I don't know if North Troy has specifically done
No.
just water and sewer.
We never
But
have.
it is something that can be done, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so we can have a
Yeah.
discussion on that next meeting to see if that's something we want to start doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can Steve advise Terry of what he brought to Helene's attention and yours about one? I mean, there's one multi-property owner that's up to $8,000 in delinquencies. That's a huge chunk of change. All of this delinquency comes to a little over $40,000.
Yeah, we can do it
And I
next.
mean, if you've got one
Next
property
meeting.
owner that owns multiple properties and is over $8,000 in delinquency, I think there's something going on that we're not shutting off properly.
Yeah, I haven't seen the list, so I don't
We can do it next meeting.
know. Okay.
Thank you.
And if this is gonna be done at the next meeting, I was informed over 3 years ago that there was a property here on this street that is no longer, and we were told that that property got a lien attached to it. But yet I still see the property is Ernest, is for that 94 or whatever. railroad.
96, yeah.
I still see that in the delinquency, and I asked for a copy of that lien that was placed on that, and I never got that. So I'm not so sure that when Becky made that statement, that was true. And I know I've found a lot of falsities in what I've been told before, so it may or may not be, but if you're gonna look into this, and it's gonna be part of the next meeting, maybe one of you three might look into exactly what's up with that piece of property that became out of 2 into 1, and the delinquent water bill from the no longer existing is still showing up, apparently.
96 Main Street.
No, railroad.
Railroad,
You're
yeah.
talking Ernest's apartment building?
Yeah.
There used to be two properties, two lots, and he tore down one, and then he made the big building here, I believe is how it went.
And you
I'm
were
not
to- you
sure
were
what
told there was a
property
lien on
went.
it? You were told there was a lien on that?
But because it was delinquent, when I went into this 3 years ago, I believe it was, wasn't it? We went into this maybe 3, maybe 4.
That
I know, I've been after water and sewer a long time, trying to get this figured out why we're so bad in this.
That was Becky.
When there's mathematical equations to stop the losses, and we just don't want to enforce it for whatever reason, but Becky made the statement that that property had a lien put on it. So if he ever decides to do, well, what's gonna provoke him then? He pays fees, apparently, or we're charging him fees on it, because in the billing, it shows a couple bucks here or $3 here, but an outstanding of over 120, that's $1,600+.
Yeah, it's just
It
been,
makes no sense. You see what I'm saying? The board at one time raised water and sewer rates because we were losing money. That very same board was not making process to collect debts, revenue. And we have long outstanding, more than 120 days. We're talking years now on that piece of property. And if there's a lien on it, what do? Sit in perpetuity?
I have no idea.
Right, that's
From
why
a
I'm bringing it
town
to your attention,
standpoint,
Terry.
From what I know from the town standpoint, if it got sold in tax sale like it did when Ernest bought it, I mean, that's before all four of us, obviously, we've gotta look it up. I don't know, I mean, I don't have an answer, I guess.
Well, and now I'm asking if we're gonna work this for the next meeting under water
Why
and sewer,
wouldn't-
as you just
Why
said.
would if somebody buys
So are you-
something in tax sale, why wouldn't they inherit, like, have to
They
pay
do.
that? They inherit that, have to
absolutely
pay it,
do.
right?
yeah, so it was zeroed out then.
That's right. So I don't know if it wasn't cleared out then. I mean,
Did
I
he
don't-
rent out one of the properties and then tear it down and then build the big apartment buildings?
No.
Where he kept having fees coming in afterwards, or somebody rented and water was
There
hooked,
was
or
one
sewer?
house that was torn down in between the two parcels.
So that may have had a renter in it, because,
Somebody else at tax sale, it wasn't from the town tax sale. I can't think of his name, Jennison bought a lot
So
of
he
properties.
so he purchased it,
He purchased it
private
from
sale.
him afterward. What happened at the tax sale, I don't know. I mean, we have.
but I mean, we as taxpayers are left holding that still. And my
You have
point,
to
if
give
you're gonna
us
go through
time,
it.
because this is the first time.
No, I get it, I
And we've
understand, that's
all
why I'm
looked
bringing
that
it to
up.
your attention. You're gonna do this under next time, and
We'll try.
to me, that's something that's existed anciently, and these are things that build up
Mhm.
and create this deficit we keep incurring. And I brought this to your attention before, under VLTC, they have an auditor's handbook, and in that handbook is a formula that's based on the law on how to put in place so that the water and sewer stop losing money, or at least the sewer. And the formula that's required for it. They raised the rates on both of them, when just the sewer needed rate increases. The water was making money.
All right,
We raised the water in order to create funds for the sewer, by apparently.
let's roll.
Thank you for your time and your unit.
thank you.
So has there been a decision on my driveway made?
Go for the grant money.
For the grant money.
Go for the grant money, like I said, if it happened during that storm, I'm not sure if you're gonna apply that whole 6,000. Is it gonna take the whole 6,000 to repair that ditching
It's gonna take
on Hill
more than
Street?
that.
It's gonna take a little bit.
much more than that.
So what was that last storm we had it was in November?
Right.
It got
It
washed
was
out,
October 31st.
it got washed out to the point
When we
where,
lost the water.
yeah, it got washed out to the point where they couldn't even use
Right.
their driveway. So we ended up quick fixing it for the winter, throwing some gravel in there, and then have to take a look at it now, and luckily we got some grant money to fix it, to cover it. but-
My driveway?
You know, I said before.
Your driveway from,
Filling that-
like
From
I
the road
said,
to the sidewalk, can that not be fixed?
So the-
Go look again.
so
It's just-
we've looked at it, and
They're
It can't be
tripling the
fixed.
dirt,
And that's
well, they dump
because you guys
stumps
didn't
in
clean
and
the
it
drains.
It's triple the dirt.
It wouldn't have the bearing.
Anytime they have a little bit of dirt somewhere, they dump it there, and they
I
can't
flooded
get
my
the dirt.
driveway halfway to my garage
I know.
because of your drains.
How can they-
That are cleaned out now.
But it's beside the point of the 2 years that it flooded my driveway. It's between the road and the sidewalk. Why can't the town fix that?
no.
Well,
It wasn't my fault.
You tried running me off when I went down there for.
So is there no ditch between the sidewalk
I
and the
don't
road?
see how it's
People
even
are-
flooding
people are
now.
going to
Well, it's not
their
flooding now. You
salt
fixed it.
sand
Alright, so,
Yeah.
It was
As
prior.
far as
so the
they
issue,
got them, they
there's no more
just-
issue then, right? If it's not flooding
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
What part do you not understand that?
Just-
It flooded when it wasn't cleaned out.
Right, but
It washed it out.
cleaned now, so there's no more issue happening.
The hole's there.
To create.
And I
land
guess
for
you
the
said they put some dirt
Man, you
inside.
hired this?
Garage parking.
So we don't, we don't go around and fix everyone's driveway. Because if we,
You caused
if,
it because you didn't clean the drains out.
so can I show you, can I tell you another example, and I'll use my own property as
It
an
was
example?
mine and Rodney's.
The driveway that goes into the old restaurant, in
I'm
the,
not talking about
the
restaurant.
sideway.
I'm talking about my driveway that you didn't clean the
Listen.
drains out.
Listen for a second. That driveway that abuts my property, where Robert Lingland, that parking lot goes over towards your house. If you walk on School Street and you look at where that DI sits, you'll see that it's all
That
washed
needs a
out through
culvert,
there.
because that needs a culvert.
No,
Yes,
Vera, if you would let me explain,
mine don't need a culvert.
okay, never mind. No, your driveway's
Oh,
on
it's
yourself.
fixed now because you cleaned the drains. I
Alright,
understand
so we
that.
got some more,
For 2 years it wasn't.
I guess put some dirt in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did we get a
Yeah.
future meeting date?
oh yeah.
Por favor.
Wow.
Muchas gracias.
July 14th, you don't want to do 7th. 6th will be a holiday.
The 7th would be better than the 14th, because the 7th I'm off, so it's either gonna be the 7th or the 21st.
Okay, go to 7th.
Carson, is Marcel's
July 7th?
training.
Okay, 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock?
What date was that? I'm sorry?
July 7th.
Thank you. 7/7.
That day's okay with you, April?
What day of the week is that? Do we know?
Tuesday?
Tuesday. Thank you.